I have no self-control, okay? Just no self-control. This book haul is just going to be the physical books that I bought recently. I know I have no space. I know I'm moving back to Dublin in June. And I'm going to need to transport all my books. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. The first 3 books I'm going to show you are from a shopping trip I took back in Dublin with Aoife and Katie, whose channels I will leave linked down below. If you follow any of us on social media, then you should know about this shopping trip. If you don't follow me on social media, why not? All the links are down there to my Instagram and my Twitter, and you should just follow me. Follow me everywhere. Just not in real life. Yeah, that was a super fun shopping trip and I really, really needed it. We went to Chapters in Dublin and it was a magical, magical place, and I cannot wait to go back there over like Christmas when I visit my mum again. This first book is one that Aoife convinced me to buy. She didn't really need to do any convincing. She told me the basic premise of this book and I was just all over it. But it is The Magical Strings of Frankie Presto by Mitch Albom. And Aoife described this to me as something you would like if you enjoyed The Book Thief, but the difference being that rather than it being like narrated by death, it's narrated by music, and that just sounds like my perfect book. I loosely call myself a musician. It's been a while since I've properly picked up my saxophone, but I love music so much and I just cannot wait to read this one. I haven't managed to fit it in to my reading schedule because it's been so busy for university and having review copies and stuff, but I really want to get to this one soon. The next book was something I picked up in the like feminist gender section of the shop, and it was a very dangerous part of the shop for me to be in and I wanted to buy everything, but the one book I did pick up was A Spinster, Making a Life of One's Own by Kate Bollock. I had not heard of this book before, which is pretty unusual for a gender-based book like this. I quite kind of well versed in them, but this one called out to me so much. It is so beautiful and I love that it's like big paperback. It's like really, really nice. And on the back it says, "So begins Spinster, a revelatory look at the pleasures, problems and possibilities of living independently in the 21st century, reconsidering what it could mean for women to have it all." And this sounds just like something that I needed in my life at that time. I still need it in my life, so I was very excited to pick this up. And the next book I got was a bit of a nerdy, geeky English lit choice, but I got The Cambridge Companion to 20th Century British and Irish Women's Poetry, edited by Jane Dawson, and I have always wanted to own a Cambridge Companion. Like, maybe not always, I didn't want to own one when I was like 4, but ever since I've become like familiar with writing academically, I really wanted a Cambridge Companion, and this actually suits my writing project, which is my creative writing dissertation. It actually suits that really, really well. So I'm very excited to see if this will come in handy for that project. Next are a few books that I need for semester 2 of university for a 20th century American literature module that I'm taking, and the first of those is The Man in the Grey Flannel Suit by Sloane Wilson. I know absolutely nothing about this book, other than I need to study it next semester. So I'll just read you the blurb, because the blurb knows what it's on about. Here is the story of Tom and Betsy Rath, a young couple with everything going for them. 3 healthy children, a nice home, a steady income. They have every reason to be happy, but for some reason they are not. Like so many young men of the day, Tom finds himself caught up in the corporate rat race. What he encounters there propels him on a voyage of self-discovery that will turn his world inside out. At once a searing indictment of corporate control, a story of a young man confronting his past and future with honesty, and a testament to the enduring power of family, The Man in the Grey Flannel Suit is a deeply rewarding novel about the importance of taking responsibility for one's own life. So this actually sounds really good, and I'm really interested in getting to it. Another book that I picked up for that module was William Faulkner's As I Lay Dying, another book that I pretty much don't know anything about other than I need to study it next semester. I believe this is about like death of one man told by his friends and family. I think I'm really looking forward to reading it and seeing what exactly it is all about. Next I have another Nobel Prize for Literature winner. I have Toni Morrison's Beloved. I'm not studying Beloved in my second semester. I'm studying Paradise, but I thought it would be really handy to have a bit of wider reading with Toni Morrison's work, and also one of my friends has just been yelling at me to read Beloved. but I believe this has a lot to do with race and slavery. It has been called an American masterpiece. I'm also going into this one with very high expectations, and I am very much looking forward to getting to it. Next up is a book that I need this semester, and that is Charles Kingsley's The Water Babies. If you have a keen eye on either my Instagram or just on my book hauls, you may know that I already own a copy of The Water Babies, but I had some book vouchers and this was £2 and it's an Oxford World's Classics edition, and don't judge me, I needed one more copy of this. I just did. Okay, moving on. These are books that I don't have an excuse for buying, like I went out with friends or they're course books. These are just because I have no self-control. I'll start with the 2 children's books that I got. The first of which was The Hostile Hospital by Lemony Snicket, which is the 8th book in a series of unfortunate events. You may recall that I was rereading this series a while ago and I stopped. That was because I didn't have the 8th book. I managed to find this one in a charity shop for 50p, so I decided it was about time that I rejoined the massive group of people that are gradually rereading these books before the Netflix series is out. If you somehow don't know about this series, this is about the 3 Baudelaire orphans and their efforts to avoid the terrible Count Olaf who is after the Baudelaire fortune. Very looking forward to reading this one. A series of unfortunate events were kind of like my bedtime reads for quite a while, and I've been struggling to sleep recently, so this may help. Next book I have is Opalstead by Jacqueline Wilson, and I feel like every girl of my generation was obsessed by Jacqueline Wilson books. I used to devour every single one of her books, and I would read all the new releases, but I think the latest release from her I read was Love Lessons, and that was ages ago. I haven't picked up a Jacqueline Wilson book in literally years. I'm gonna look up really quickly when Love Lessons came out. It came out in 2005. That's literally over a decade. Jacqueline Wilson is literally one of the most influential writers of my whole life, and I have not read one of her books in a decade. Over a decade. That's crazy. But Opalstead is your standard middle grade Jacqueline Wilson book, but it has the suffragettes in it. It's perfect. So yeah, I am really, really looking forward to reading this one. I think it's going to be such a comfort read. The next book that I bought was Frog Music by Emma Donoghue. You may know Emma Donoghue as the writer of Room, but Room is kind of a standout different book from her. She mainly writes historical fiction, so I'm really looking forward to trying this one out and seeing what some of her more typical writing is. I don't know a huge amount about this, so I will just read you the blurb. San Francisco, 1876. A stifling heat wave and smallpox epidemic have engulfed the city. Deep in the streets of Chinatown live 3 former stars of the Parisian circus. Blanche, now an exotic dancer at the House of Mirrors, her lover Arthur, and his companion Ernest. When an eccentric outsider joins their little circle, secrets unravel, changing everything and leaving one of them dead. Frog Music, inspired by true events, is an evocative novel of intrigue and murder, elegant, erotic, and witty. This sounds perfect. I need this in my life, and look how beautiful it is. Oh my goodness. Like, loving the big floppy paperbacks. Just, they're amazing. This cover is just such a work of art and I absolutely love it and I can't wait to read this. Next up, I picked up this pretty battered but still decent copy of Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, and I feel like I'm the only one at this point that hasn't read Burial Rites. Everyone seems to have loved it. This is set in northern Iceland in 1829 and it is about a woman who has been condemned to death because she has been blamed for the death of her lover. But everything is not as it seems, and this is her side of the story, I believe. I'm very excited to read this one. I don't think I've ever read anything based in Iceland, so yes, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what everyone loves so much about this book. And can we just look at this? It's not like in perfect condition, but just look how beautiful it is. Oh my goodness. Next I have Maya Angelou's Singin' and Swingin' and Getting Merry Like Christmas, and this is the 3rd volume of her 6-volume autobiography. I've not read the previous 2, as in the first 2 editions of her autobiography. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings and Gather Together in My Name, but I did see this really, really cheap in a charity shop, so I decided I should pick it up because I will get to it eventually. I believe this one focuses on music and her son, which is really, really interesting. So yes, very much looking forward to getting to this. I've never read any Maya Angelou, which is ridiculous. And finally, I have Edna O'Brien's Girl with Green Eyes. This is the second book in the Country Girls series. I believe it's a trilogy, and I have the first volume, as in the Country Girls, on my shelf, and I will be reading it this very month. I will be reading it in October. These books are about two friends who have moved up from the countryside in Ireland to live in Dublin, the capital city, and what they get up to there. I'm very, very much looking forward to reading this series. It's going to come in really handy with my creative writing dissertation, so yeah, I'm just basically really, really excited to read this. So yes, they are all the physical books that I have acquired over the past month or so. Do let me know if you have any thoughts on any of the books that I have mentioned. If you have read any of them, let me know if there are any I need to get to super, super quickly. If there are any that you are interested in and want to have a little chat about down in the comments, be sure to leave a comment. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you are subscribed now. I try to upload videos every Sunday and every Wednesday. I really try. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.